I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So I was going back over my older videos and discovered I hadn't done a Fairy Kingdom battle in a really long time, so I decided to do another one, because genociding gnomes is such a great time. We have this Fairy Kingdom castle kind of nestled at the end of a valley here. A lot of dead gnomes, because, yeah, that's how it goes. So for today's experience, we have Night Lords and drukhari. For the Night Lords today, we have a Master of Executions will be leading this force. He'll have 10 cultists, 5 Space Marines with a Flamer, 10 Chaos Space Marines with a Heavy Bolter and an Autocannon, 5 Warp Talons, and 2 Obliterators. These 7 guys here will be in their teleportarium thing or whatever it is that they come in from. So these drukhari here, led by the succubus, there'll be 10 Cobolite warriors, 5 incubi, 10 witches, 2 groups of 5 scourges, 3 reavers, a venom, and a talos. Alright, so these guys have been genociding the gnomes. The Night Lords saw the smoke in the distance and have come to investigate. I'll set up the deployment and we'll start this happiness. So the small group of 5 Chaos Space Marines has been set up here on the far right. And the very expendable cultists in the front there with the Master of Executions behind. And then the group of 10 kind of facing up against this entrance here. The Warp Talons and Obliterators are holding off until they're actually needed. And so the drukhari were essentially interrupted during this mass slaughter, so they're kind of all over the place. So these witches are over here with the reavers kind of in front of them, the succubus next to them on the left. The venom over here where it dropped something off, probably those incubi. A talos in the castle with some scourges on top of it. Colette warriors over by the fence, and the other scourges over here. Unfortunately for drukhari, Chaos won the roll, so start round 1 with Chaos movement. So the cultists, the small group of 5 Chaos Space Marines, and the Master of Executions all advanced forward. These guys just moved their 5. No sectors anywhere on either side, so shooting phase. So the autocannon and heavy bolter are the only guns out right now that are in range of anything. So those 2 shot at the scourges, and the autocannon managed to kill one of them. Nobody's in range to charge, so that'll take us to the drukhari turn. Movement. So kind of a flurry of movement over here on the drukhari side after losing a scourge. So the reavers have popped up here on this little hill thing. The witches advanced up to here. The succubus advanced way up. The venom just came around the corner there to start taking pot shots. These scourges didn't move. The talos back here didn't move either, but it also has really good shots on the cultists. The incubi advanced, the scourges moved up, and the Cobolites just hopped over the fence to get closer to the small 5-man unit of Chaos Space Marines. So that'll take us on over to drukhari shooting. Okay, that was kind of productive. These reavers killed one of these Space Marines. The scourges up here killed 2 of these cultists, and the talos just inside the castle killed 3 more. Nobody's in range to charge, so I just gotta roll morale real quick for the cultists. Okay, so 3 of the cultists ran away. Nice. With that, it'll take us over to the Night Lord's turn, movement. So all of these Chaos Space Marines have surged forward again. The cultists just moved forward, but the far squad of Space Marines here has advanced way up. The Master of Execution's got a poor advance roll, but he did move up some. And these guys just moved up their basic movement. And then an Obliterator dropped in back here behind the Scourges to try and stop some of the shenanigans before they really even start. So hopefully that'll help. That being said, it'll be the Night Lord shooting phase. So the guy with the flamer in this grouping here killed 3 of the Kabbalite warriors. The autocannon is definitely putting in its work today because it killed 2 of these Scourges up here. And the Obliterator here is definitely living up to its name. It killed 4 of these Scourges over here. Yeah, the only person in range to charge is the Obliterator. I'm definitely not doing that. So, yeah, that'll make it the drukhari turn. These Reavers have decided to continue forward and have gone down a level on this hill here. The Succubus just moved up, and the Witches advanced up behind her. The 2 remaining Scourges from the top of the castle have dropped down here, and the Venom behind them. The Talos is coming out of the castle. Kabbalites are just staying where they are, and the last Scourge of this grouping has moved up to challenge the Space Marines. And back here, the Incubi have turned around and are focusing on the Obliterator. So yeah, pretty much everyone is out. I'm about to do some crazy Drukhariness. So we'll go on to the Drukhari shooting phase. So the Reavers and the Venom managed to kill off 3 of the Space Marines. The Scourges killed off the Cultists. And the Kabbalite warriors over here killed 1 of these Space Marines. That'll take us to the charge phase, which will most definitely be the Incubi into the Obliterator behind the castle. These Scourges here into these Chaos Space Marines, and then that Scourge over there into the smaller group of Chaos Space Marines. Alright, so these Scourges tried to charge the Space Marines. 1 of them died and they didn't make their distance. The Scourge that was over here made its distance, killed 2 of the Space Marines, and then died in return. And these guys made their distance, did a point of damage to it, but it didn't do anything back to them, so decent times. No morale anywhere, so that'll take us to the Night Lord movement turn thing. So all of these Chaos Space Marines have opted not to move this turn. This Obliterator fell back. This Obliterator dropped into the area from its little teleportarium hidey hole thing. And these Warp Talons dropped in behind the Witches. Everybody's in for the Night Lords. That'll take us on over to Night Lord shooting. So the Master of Executions tried to shoot his bolt pistol at the Silurite and missed. These guys killed the Kabbalite. The Heavy Bolter and Autocannon here killed 2 of these Reavers. And the Obliterator here that came in this turn killed off 3 of the Incubi. So, Night Lord chargers, there will be some. It'll probably be those 2 guys into the Kabbalite warriors. And yeah, the Master of Executions, I guess, will charge into the Silurite. So the Master of Executions successfully charged into the Silurite, killed it. There were 2 Space Marines here, and they charged in and they made it, and they killed 3 Kabbalites. And then somehow the Kabbalites butted them with their gun butts to death. I've never seen that. That's a first for me. So yeah, that happened. I had forgotten about the Warp Talons, but I rolled out for Overwatch and Charge Distance, and they failed on it. These guys can't shoot and they can't fly fast enough, so nothing happened there. With that being said, that'll be the Drukhari turn. So the Reaver just is hanging out here on his hill. The succubus has moved over to probably challenge the Master of Executions. These witches have moved up to challenge these guys. The venom turned around to go after the warp talons. And these Coblites have just hopped over the fence here to start working on these obliterators. Yeah, so that'll take us over to the shooting phase. The witches managed to kill a Chaos Space Marine with their splinter pistols. The Talos did a point of damage to the Master of Executions. The Venom killed a Warp Talon. And these Coblites over here did a point of damage to the Obliterator right here. So the drukhari charge phase, definitely the Incubi into the Obliterator here. The Succubus into the Master of Executions, the Witches into the Chaos Space Marines, maybe the Reaver. So everybody made their charges. The Succubus killed the Master of Executions. The Witches killed off one of the Chaos Space Marines and lost a couple in return. And the Clavex rolled a 6, and the Obliterator failed to save, so he died. That Clavex is super, super nasty. Yeah. So that'll take us back to the Chaos Space Marine turn. So nobody on the Chaos side is actually going to move. These guys are going to stay in combat. The Warp Talons are probably going to charge. And this Obliterator is just going to hang out by the fountain. So Night Lord's shooting. So these guys shot with their pistols and killed one of the witches. And the Obliterator killed one of the Incubi, but not the Clavex. Charge phase will be these Warp Talons into this Venom. These Chaos Space Marines are still in combat. So these Chaos Space Marines were continuing a fight from last round, and they died. They killed two of the witches, but they died. It was freaking terrible. And over here, the Warp Talons made it in, did a little bit of damage, but lost 2 to the Venom. And that'll take us to the drukhari turn movement. So the Venom has fallen back, while the Witches and Succubus have advanced forward. The Talos went back to the castle to start heading towards the Obliterator to kill it, as the Coblites are also doing. That'll make it the drukhari shooting phase. So the Coblites over there and the Talos did a couple points of damage to the Obliterator. Nothing else happened. So pretty sure the Incubi, the Clavex, advanced to get over there. He fell back, they advanced, nobody can charge, so that makes it the Night Lord's turn. So movement, such as it is. The Obliterator is choosing to remain where he is. And the Warp Talons have hopped the fence to go after these Witches and Succubus. So that'll be the Night Lord shooting phase. So the Obliterator killed the Clavex. Sad face. That'll take us to the charge phase, where these Warp Talons charge into the Succubus. So the Warp Talons did successfully charge into the Succubus, but then they died. They did a couple points of damage to her, but they still died. So yeah, that'll make it the drukhari turn movement. So all of the Dark Eldar are converging back here, heading for this last lone Obliterator. The Arena Champion came down off his hill. The Venom moved up from around the other side. The Succubus and the 3 remaining Witches advanced up. And over here, the Coblites just moved way forward, and the Talos came out of the castle. So the shooting phase, which will probably be this guy's last turn on the table for tonight. Yeah, so the Talos killed the Obliterator, which makes the drukhari the victor this day, and they get to keep their shiny castle. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate you watching. I definitely enjoy making these videos, and it does make me feel better about things to see that people enjoy watching them too. Yeah, nothing really else to be said. Y'all have a good day.